Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Sportscast Jersey. Today we are joined by Soccer Stars Juniors founder Mark Great. How are you doing, Mark?
How you doing, Dan? Yeah, you make me sound really, really good there.
That's what I try to do. That's what I try to do now. What you're
Yeah.
doing is amazing. We'll get into that probably in a bit, but I want to start with what obviously football is the main topic in general on this podcast today. So what were your first memories of the sport? What are your first memories of playing or watching football?
Oh, cool. Yeah, I used to go to Springfield with my dad. So I was probably about looking at like 10, 11. And he used to take me to Springfield to watch the old First Division games. So back in them days, it was the likes of like Paul Carberry, Andy Barker, Adam Gregg, Nalio De Freitas, just legends of Jersey football. And I remember going on a Tuesday night or a Thursday night, and I'll be sat in the back of my dad's car and just excited to go and watch this game, thinking they're like professional players. And my dad used to say to me, this is the level you want to get to. He said, first division, it's a really good level. And just used to love going. And then my dad played at quite a good level for St. Martin's. He played, he played first team and then dropped into the reserves. And I used to go up to St. Martin's and go and train with them all when I was young. And it just kind of just
Yeah.
kicked off from there, really.
How would you compare local football back then to what it is now, and how would you compare it yourself?
Um, from when I played, I think the lads these days are a lot fitter. You hear in the professional game about booze culture, and I'm sure the lads these days go out drinking. But when you go and watch the Jersey Bulls, fitness levels are just outstanding, and technically the players are brilliant. I think some real good football being played. I think back in the day when I played first division, it seemed a bit more physical. But then again, the professional game is gone sort of down the same route as well. So, less tackles, bad tackles. Yeah, I used to sort of kick a few people as well. So I'm guilty of that. So yeah, it's just different era. It's a different era, different types of players. They're pretty quick, fit. So yeah, just different.
Yeah. Talk about when you played. Obviously, you were quite good. You went away to England to try and pursue a career in football. You spent time at Sheffield United and Leeds, amongst other clubs. But how were those times, even just in training with those kind of players? And was there any standouts?
Yeah, I got picked up when I was at school, like as a schoolboy here. So I was going over to Sheffield United I think I was about 12, 13, 14. I think it was. I used to go over on the school holidays and it was brilliant. Yeah, I loved it. But when you're that age, you're not really thinking too much about the next level and where you want to get to. You're just there, just playing and enjoying it. Um, and then Leeds offered me a contract, so I signed for Leeds, and I knew when I was at school I'd be leaving school to go and move to Leeds. So um, at that point, I actually thought, you know what, I'm there. I kind of I ran away with it a little bit, thinking that you're there and you kind of made it. And probably, I was so far off it when you actually think about it now. Um, but the team at Leeds, we were won the FA Youth Cup, so we were the best team in the country. And I didn't get a lot of game time in the first season. I found it quite difficult. Physically, I was quite small as well. Whereas now I'm a bit of a bodybuilder, as you can see. So, so back then I was quite small. And they sent me out on loan to Hull for a month and I played like reserves at Hull. And I found it difficult. The lower down you went, the more physical it was. The higher up you went, the more technical you had to be. So I wasn't quick. I wasn't kind of a big player. So I struggled a little bit. The second season was okay. And then after that, I kind of, you're getting dropped and your confidence levels go. And I went out on loan again, and yeah, I found it hard. And then when they released me, yeah, your confidence just gets knocked. And I came home, and you kind of get back into the Jersey way of things again. You play a bit of local football, and yeah, you're a good player again, and you're going out with your mates and seeing family. And I went away back on trial again to a load of clubs, but I think I'd lost kind of that energy for it at that point as well, and which is a shame. So I think maybe if I was living in the UK, I could have maybe played real low level.
Yeah,
But you come home, and that's it then. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Do you want when Leeds released you? Do you remember the kind of lead up in the day? Did were you expecting it? And how did it feel when you actually heard those words as well?
Yeah, I was a bit unfortunate in like the last couple of seasons there, because the guy at Sheffield United that signed me joined Leeds in my second season. So I turned Sheffield United down to then sign for Leeds. So when he came into Leeds, although he was a lovely guy and he was a lovely coach, you know, I don't think I was his favourite. So they tried playing me left back. I wasn't quick enough. Centre midfield. There was too many good players at the time. There was players like Harry Kewell, who played for Liverpool. Stephen McPhail played for Ireland, and played in the Championship for Cardiff, and the whole team. We had Jonathan Woodgate, went to Real Madrid, Paul Robinson, England goal. It was just the team was unbelievable. So I probably didn't sign for the best team, if I'm honest. Um, so I kind of knew that I wasn't up there with the best players there. You just know, you go into training and you just know. Um, so then when I went out on loan, they sent me out on loan a few times, and I went on trial at Rotherham and Northampton. And these teams were bottom of the sort of like the fourth division back then, so they weren't very good. And even in their reserve teams, I just struggled, whether it was confidence or yeah. So you kind of know that you're sort of you're slipping away a little bit. And then we had the conversation. There's quite a few of you that get released at the same time. So we all live together as well in a big complex at Leeds training ground. So you all come out of these meetings and you know where you're at. So four of us hired a car and we drove up and down the country. They arranged trials for us for about 2 weeks. So we play like a game every few days.
Yeah,
Gillingham, and yeah, just never got offered a contract, and then that was it. You kind of after that they help you to kind of get those games in place, and after that you're on your own.
yeah,
Uh, and then came home after that, and yeah, that was it.
yeah, yeah,
That was kind of it then.
yeah.
Uh,
As, as
yeah,
you as you say, though, obviously disappointing not to make it. Anyone that wants to make it in football, it's disappointing. But you came back a little bit on local football now and played for St. Paul's and won a lot, let's say.
yeah.
How good was that time, that team, that whole squad, and that the feeling of winning basically in local football?
Yeah. Do you know what, if I'm honest, it was my favourite season in Jersey football when I played for St. Paul's. But I think I was 20, I think I was 21 at the time. And I was kind of back playing with my mates. It was like James Fortune, Robbie Whittaker, Greg Higgins, Johnny Fitzmaurice, Jamie Drummond. And then there's a lot of older lads as well. Andy Barker, Steve Kilshaw, Paul Beckett, John Bailey. They're all absolute legends and brilliant, brilliant players. And they really looked after like the younger lads as well. And that St. Paul's team, I don't think we'd won the league in about, I think there was kind of like Paul Duffy's era. I think it was, which was maybe, it could have been 20 years or something. I think Jersey Scottish Tower
Yeah,
dominated Jersey football for a long, long time. Um, and we just had a brilliant team. We won the Upton, won the league, and it kind of kicked St. Paul's off again, I think. And obviously after that, then there was the year of like Stuart Andre, Jack Cannon,
yeah,
and all those boys came in and took it to a different level. But it was, yeah, my favorite season in Jersey football. I played like Marathi, Upton, yeah, and just had a good time as well. We were going out weekends, but still playing good football, and yeah, it was brilliant. So yeah, loved it, absolutely loved
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And you mentioned Marathis there, and you played in a few. How and Island games. So how proud were you to look back now and say, yeah, I got to the level. Obviously, you're a good player because you went off to Leeds, but you got to level and you represented Jersey in those massive games for us Islanders.
Yeah, do you know, it meant everything. I love playing for Jersey, and I didn't play enough really, with a form or injury or just yeah, I loved it. And if I could play in the Marathi now, I would too. Yeah, I watch it and I miss it. And just like that team togetherness, and you're representing your island, and yeah, I absolutely loved it. And you probably take it for granted when you're playing a little bit. I don't play that many Marathis, I only played a few. But just going out there like with your buddies and your best mates, and like even the island games, you're there as a squad for a couple of weeks, and it's brilliant. It's so good, and you just form really good friendships. Like there's lads there that used to kick each other playing for St. Paul's or Scottish, like me and James Scott. Um, you'd kick each other all day long on the pitch, but then when you go away or you play for Jersey together, and you come together, and yeah, everybody used to get on really well, and yeah, I do miss that.
Yeah, yeah. On those teams we mentioned, the St. Paul's teams, the Jersey teams, who are the standout players that you kind of played with back then, and is there people that spring to mind?
Oh, um, my local hero was like Andy Barker. So because I played centre midfield, so I used to go and watch, as I said, with my dad, and he'd say to me, "Watch what Andy Barker does. Look at him here. Look, he's controlling the game. He's talking. He's heading it. He's scoring goals. He's up and down the pitch." And so I tried to play a bit like Andy Barker, and yeah, I didn't really get to that level. He was a lot better player than I was. But then there's the likes of Yazaldi Santos, who I played Marathis with, and he was just unreal. Yeah, when he was fit, he was brilliant and such a good guy as well. Um, David Brody, wow, as a centre midfielder, I think I played with him and Paddy O'Toole as a three, and you just look around and you just know they're there for you. They're just amazing players and brilliant people as well. And yeah, so I think David Brody, um, Ali Santos, Andy Barker. And then when you're watching the Marathis as a youngster, you've got like big Ricky Muddyman and Trevor LeMaitre and Craig Ferry. There's so many players that I played with that you look back now and go, wow, they were amazing players.
Yeah, yeah,
Also my best mates, Robbie Whittaker and James Fortune, they weren't bad.
yeah, yeah. They're like that shout out.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of players now, who who kind of stands out to you? Say you go watch Bulls a lot. Who I asked Jack Boyle a similar question. Obviously, he's played with two kind of generations in a way, but who kind of stands out and you'd say, yeah, he could have played in my time.
Yeah, a lot of those lads I think could, and there's some brilliant players there. Like Luke Campbell is, yeah, he's outstanding. James Kerray, there's some really, really good players there. And yeah, I don't know them that well, but they're nice guys as well. They do a lot for the community, I think, and but really good players. Luke Watson is probably the standout player. He's pushing on 57 now, is he? 58? And he's still bossing the midfield. He's still, in my eyes, the best player. So I think Luke Watson, if when I was breaking through at 21, I think if he lived in the UK, I think Luke would be he'd be playing at some level professionally, I think. And the likes of James Kerry, Luke Campbell, I think if they all lived in the UK, they'd be playing. They would have maybe moved up the ladder quite quickly. And once you're in that environment, I think, and you stay there, then you can maybe move up. And
Yeah,
so yeah, yeah.
yeah, nice, nice quality players.
Yeah, the likes of Stuart Andre as well. I know he stopped playing now, but again, if he lived in the UK. I think he would have been a professional. So yeah, there's a lot of good players here.
Yeah, yeah. You've named quite a few, and it's interesting when you do name them all, and you're like, even I'm like, oh yeah, he is or was quality, and yeah, we do have a lot of talent here. Um,
Yeah.
Last kind of question before we move on to Soccer Stars Juniors and why we're here, really. Obviously for yourself, running's become a bit of you caught the bug a bit. Um,
Yeah.
how,
Yeah.
how much are you enjoying in that and entering the races that you've entered?
Oh, do you know what? I I played a bit of over 35s, but I just seem to get injured. I tackle like a lunatic and I still think I can run about, run about. And I used to come home and I hadn't touched the football but got injured. So Gilly was like, look, you've got to stop playing football. Like you're useless now, you're a bit porky, you're getting injured. So I've always liked my running and I ran quite a lot when I was younger and cross countries at school and that kind of stuff. And so kind of when I stopped playing, I just got into it a little bit more just to keep fit, and I find it's quite good for me, like mentally. I like to just challenge myself. When you're entering all these races and you can kind of get caught up on times, and everyone's looking for PBs, but as long as you're beating yourself and you're hitting those expectations of yourself, then I think that's what it's all about. And I kind of like the challenge as well. So yeah, I did a few ultra marathons now. So I've done three round the rock jerseys, and I was over in Guernsey a couple of weeks ago doing the Guernsey Ultra.
Yeah,
But I fell over, got a bad injury, had to pull out after about 15K, so that didn't go well.
yeah,
And then yeah, this year doing a half Ironman in France and the Jersey Tri in July, and then hopefully next year a couple more Ironmans and just kind of just keep going. Really, I just enjoy it. So
yeah.
yeah,
It's
it's
good to
really
challenge yourself, and um, Ironmans and things like that are just next level as well. And
yeah,
yeah, it's. I think you're spot on as well. I think people do, well, especially when they first start, do get caught up on times and
yeah,
maybe thinking, oh, I should be beating them or
yeah,
have you. But I think I've got to the point where just finishing it and I'm happy and
yeah.
just enjoy it.
Just get that medal at the end. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's it. And that's why I like the trail stuff, because when you're out there, you're never really looking at your watch. You're just enjoying like the environment where you are.
yeah,
I'm getting older now, so I enjoy like a bit of nature and just being out there. Mentally for me, I just enjoy where I'm at. It's not really a race. I just kind of enjoy being out there. So
yeah,
uh, yeah, that's why I get involved with that now. But yeah,
yeah.
but all my mates are saying, well, how you do all this running and you're doing a half Ironman, but how come you're still a bit porky? So I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure, but
I'm the same. I'm the same. I
yeah,
just enjoy eating too much.
yeah, it's a balance. Yeah, it's that balance.
Yeah. Right. Let's move on to why we're here. Soccer Stars Juniors. Explain to people what it is for starters and why you created it, I guess.
Yeah, so Soccer Stars Juniors jersey is it's a football group that I set up for kids with specific needs. So we kind of cover kids 7 to 15, so boys and girls. We've got kids that have got ADHD, autism, Down syndrome. We've got one little lad who's got sight problems. And there's kids that have got mobility issues. Just a wide variety of things where these kids maybe don't fit into a mainstream football club. Which yeah, there's a couple of kids there. When you watch them play football, they are brilliant. But they don't quite fit into mainstream football, or they don't enjoy it, or it hasn't worked for them. And obviously, when you've got kids that have got mobility issues, if they join a mainstream club, it's too quick for them, or they can't really join in. Um, so it all kind of kicked off where I started doing a bit of coaching with the adult disability football teams. I knew Gary Norman and Mark Jones, who are brilliant people. And they basically set up the football for the adults. Well, it was kids, because Mark Jones's his boy I think loved his football back in the day. So Mark set it up, and gradually as his kid got older, I think his boy now Ryan is he could be 30, I think he is now. So he kind of set it up, and gradually it's progressed into an adult team now. And they have about, I think they have about 25 to 30 guys that go and play football. Um, so I went and helped those guys out, and I loved it. It was brilliant. Just really enjoyed it. And I realized there was nothing for kids. There was no gap. So there's nothing that would bridge that gap between you know, joining their team. So I
Yeah.
looked into it, spoke to Montalave, and I spoke to JFA, and we had a chat. And there was nothing for kids between 7 and 15 outside of school. Yeah, there's obviously like stuff in school that goes on, but they have, playtime and they have sessions in school. But after school, there was no real club. So we just thought, right, let's try and get something set up, and we'll just start by putting the word out. And we knew a few kids from Montalave, and I knew a few parents who had kids, from football that I knew. I said, look, if I set it up, would your kid want to come along? And so the first session we had, the JFA, I think, came up to have a look. Sport for Jersey, myself. I think we had about 6 adults and we had one kid. So the first session was a bit scary. I was thinking, oh, hopefully it kicks off. But 2 years down the line, we've now got about 15 kids that come along, and we've now progressed 3 kids into the adult. So we're kind of a feeder now to the
Yeah.
adult football. And just seeing that development, for me as well, is just, there's somewhere for them to go. Like you can push them from that age now at 15 into a football team, and they've been playing football since, with me for the last couple of years. So yeah, just that progress into the adults, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's been brilliant. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love
Yeah.
it.
You meant, we'll touch on it a bit more, but you mentioned Gary Norman and Mark Jones, who are obviously amazing people. Mark Jones has been doing it for years, as you say. How much of an inspiration and guidance have they been for you in what you're doing as well?
Yeah, a lot. So at the start, I kind of had a chat to Gary and Mark and said, I can see there's no football for kids at the moment between 7 and 15. Obviously, you guys did it when you were younger. And how would you feel if I tried to set it up again? And what do we need to look at? What do we need to do? And they gave me some guidance, and they put me in touch with the Jersey Sport for Disabled. So now we're affiliated to the Sport for Disabled. So they were real sort of good guidance in terms of what you need to do and who to speak to and how to start it slow and build it up. And then we spoke to the JFA, so Paul Renton and Brian Oliver. I know those guys, and they just want to help you out, and they want to try and do what they can to support you. And they came up to the football. They came to see how I was coaching the session and any pointers and tips. And they put me in touch with like a learning plan now on the Football Association. So you get that support. So it is out there, you've got to look for it. Got to ask, keep knocking on people's doors. And Jersey Sport have kindly given me the sports hall on a weekly basis for free. So we don't charge the kids. It's all free. I don't really believe in charging. So if I can get everything for free, we try
Yeah.
to. So Jersey Sport give us the hall. JFA gave us a load of footballs. Sport for Disabled have supported with any equipment we need. And then we got given a name, which was the Sir James Knott Trust. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No, no, no.
So yeah, and they help. They're a bit of a quiet charity, but they kind of support different organizations and sporting events, and I think they've helped to build communities in the north of England. And so I got in touch with this nice lady, and she donated £3,000 for kits for the kids. So the kids feel like a team, that's
Yeah.
kind of quite important. So they got kits and tracksuits and bags, and so yeah, it's brilliant. So it's really, we're getting there slowly.
Yeah, yeah. And in terms of how glad you are that you did set up, how good is it to see the joy on their faces when they do come and they have a kick about, and also socially as well, meeting new people as well.
Yeah. Um, yeah, because for me, when I was watching or when I was helping out with the adult football, there's such a they've been friends for life. They've been friends as they've been growing up, and they've got a real good community there. So they go bowling together. They go on football trips to the UK, which you might know about. Um, they have like a disco that we go to now, and it's not just about the football. It's that making friendships and the social side of it, confidence. So the football is kind of it's there just for them to enjoy, but you can see there's a big lad that comes along, and there's some little lads, and one of the little lads fell over the other week, and the big lad picked him up, and they cuddled and they hugged. It's just so nice to see. So yeah, I love it. And all I want to do is score goals and play a game. Literally half of them say to me, I try and kind of do like skill, like dribbling or shooting or passing, and they all just want to play a game and just shoot. So we do like celebrations, and they do the Ronaldo, and
Yeah.
it's so good, Dan. It's so good. Um but yeah, it can be fun to organize because you put the cones down, and next minute all the cones are gone.
Yeah.
Um, and there's footballs flying everywhere. But I just think as long as they've all got a football, they're all having fun, they're making friends, there's that social side of it, teamwork.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big plus for me. So
Yeah. How important was it that you did get that kind of bridge that gap and put something in place for people, younger guys like the adult team? How important was that? Because obviously it's good to, as you say, they had it in school, they had it in PE lessons and playtimes, but to have something social outside of school, how important is that in their lives?
I think it's really important. For me, I still knock about with the guys that I played with years ago, and I still see you see guys out that you played football with 20 years ago, and it's you make that friendship. And I think seeing the adult team um have that friendship, for me, hopefully they'll grow up as a group of friends, and they'll all kind of then go into the senior football. They'll all go away together, and they have just lifelong friends, and just through this football club. So yeah, even if they drop out of the football, but they all stay together and go to like the sport for disabled disco, or they go to the bowling together. They've made friends, and also I think it's good for the parents as well. You know, if you've got a child that's got a specific need, it can be a lonely place if you don't know who to speak to, or you don't know anybody. So on the sideline, you can see the parents are chatting, and they're probably talking about school and what their kids done. So yeah, and some of the parents join in as well, which I let them join in. I think it's good. And we let some of the siblings join in as well,
Yeah,
because they might not ever have that opportunity to play with their brother or sister because of the age gap, or they're out doing something with their friends. So as a family thing as well, it's quite a good family unit thing. So yeah.
yeah, nice, nice. If there are people watching or listening to this or have seen the post and thought, oh, that's something that my child could get involved in, how can they, and when and where are the sessions as well?
Yeah, I post every now and again on social media. I just kind of post a little reminder that the football is on. We're trying to get the flyers out to more of the primary schools now, so that's kind of like the next step. So we've got some really good people involved now. So Martin Cassidy, who so he's been involved now for quite a while. Because I work shifts, so some Saturdays I can't make it, which is unfortunate. When I set it up, I was working 9 to 5, so I could make it. Um, so we've got Martin Cassidy, who's obviously well known in the local football world. And he does a lot of does all the futsal at the moment, so he's a really good guy. We've got Cassie Devereaux, who she works at Montalabé, which helps kind of bridge the kids that join. So they've got a familiar face from school. We've got a guy called Simon Marsh who helps out. And then also my dad gets involved. He loves it. Um, so we do it on every Saturday morning. It's 9:30 till 10:30 at Oakfield, which is the top of Wellington Hill. So the big gym there, you've got the AstroTurf. So we managed to get the outside AstroTurf every now and again in the summer, but generally it's indoors because there's footballs flying everywhere. Basically, every kid has a football. So when you're outdoors, it can be quite hard to contain. So we do like it indoors where it's easier then. And yeah, they can just get in touch with me on Facebook or my number is always on there. It's free and they can dip in and out. They can come 1 week, not come for the next 4 weeks. It's just it's pretty casual really. And we understand that some kids, yeah, their moods can change on a daily basis. So they might wake up on a Saturday and want to come, and then all of a sudden an hour later they don't want to go. So yeah, we expect to have different numbers each week, and we just work it. So yeah.
Excellent, mate. Excellent. Final question for you this morning. What are the future goals for Soccer Stars Juniors and yourself?
So we've been going for about 2 years now. So we want to kind of just let it grow quite slowly, and make sure we had a few, the right people helping out with the coaches. Obviously, Martin Cassidy's now there, um, and hopefully try and get the word out to the primary schools because there's a lot of kids out there that do fall under that SEN, special needs area that perhaps don't know there's a football session on, and even we got kids that kind of just sit in the corner. Some of them just bounce the ball around. We try and encourage the football, but as long as they're there having fun, we don't really mind. So hopefully there's a lot more kids out there, and eventually we'll try and get a couple more sort of volunteer coaches and just try and grow the numbers and just see how it goes. It'd be good eventually to maybe try and get the kids to a UK tournament. There's loads going on in the UK for kids with specific needs, and as I mentioned, the adults go away every year in a tournament.
Yeah,
Have you heard about it and seen it?
yeah, I've seen that. I've seen it.
They did really well, and yeah, they come back, and it's their world. It's kind of it's like they've won the World Cup. It's brilliant. I've seen some of the guys in the street, and they're talking to me about it, and so hopefully we'll try and get the kids to a UK tournament, um, or just away somewhere, and just try and push it on really. So yeah.
Yeah, superb, mate. Superb. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, and also we're trying to get affiliated to a UK professional club. So I've been speaking to the JFA. Just it's quite early sort of chat, but I wouldn't mind trying to get affiliated to a Southampton or Bournemouth because they have amazing outreach community projects for these type of things. So if we can maybe tap into their resources and get them over, get the kids over to them, get some coaches here, and just trying to develop it really.
Be superb. That'd be really good for the kids as well. And
Yeah.
no, thank you, Mark. Everything we've talked to you about this morning is just super interesting. And yeah, keep
Cheers.
doing what you're doing for the guys and keep up the good work.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, good to chat today. Thanks, buddy.
Sweet, sweet.
It's been really good. Yeah, and you're doing a lot of good for Jersey sport as well. Like some of the things that I see out there. So yeah, yeah. So you're doing a really good job as well. Someone needs to interview you next.
No, no, none of that. None of that.
Definitely.
Thank you to everyone that's watched and listened to this episode as well. Another episode of Sportscast Jersey is coming soon.